welcome to the Patricia Joe Grover Show, where we turn believers into achievers. And today, my guest is Daniel Gomez. Let me tell you a little bit about Daniel. He is an award winning motivational keynote speaker, an executive business coach, business strategist, and corporate trainer with 2 decades of experience in the arena of leadership development and team building, sales training, customer service, and confidence coaching. He is the international best-selling author of You Were Born to Fly, a book written to inspire and to give people the high performance habits and the confidence needed to be leaders of their own destiny. Daniel's not just a motivational keynote speaker, he gives you organization and for the success principles, leadership skills, and champions mindset to develop and build a winning team. He was honored with the Best of 2019 award for his confidence coaching, his business strategies. That's all fantastic stuff. And he and his wife, Mary Gomez, believe in giving back and supporting those women who have been impacted by breast cancer through their 501c nonprofit, the Marie Strong Foundation. Daniel's a true professional and very easy to work with, and I can attest to that. Welcome to the show, Daniel.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Patty. It's a beautiful morning here in San Antonio, and yes, so my wife's name is Madi, not Mary.
I'm sorry. So
yeah, it's the Madi Strong. The reason I say that is because our women's conference is coming up, Finding Your Inner Beauty.
Yes.
And it's sponsored by the Madi Strong Foundation.
Madi.
Yeah, Madi, Mari, Madi, the Madi
Oh,
Strong
okay,
Foundation.
okay.
Yeah,
I didn't get the role of the okay.
I don't get it either.
That makes it for me. There you go. Well, thank you for clarifying that. That's wonderful. So yeah, I'll touch bases on that in a little bit. So I wanted to ask you some questions because really I've been watching you. I follow you on social media. So can you tell me what the Distinctive Syndicate, where you came up with that title for your?
Yeah, well, Distinctive Syndicate is our Facebook group, and it's pretty awesome. And I just think that when you realize you're distinctive, and that word is awesome because it's unique, right? Distinctive means unique. Right. You're one of a kind. And just think about the blueprint of your life. Nobody has Patty's voice. Nobody has Daniel's voice. Nobody has our fingerprint.
Right.
And when you realize that's how distinctive you are, you truly stop comparing yourself to other people. So when I was thinking about, man, what could be just a name that really stands out that people would kind of maybe understand, but maybe question? Because I want them to question it, right? Just the way you're questioning it. Right. I wanted to bring it up in conversation because that's what helps people realize that you don't have to compare yourself to anybody. So the distinctive part is being distinctive, unique, being happy in your own skin, being happy in who you were created to be, who God created you to be. And then the syndicate is just a community, right? If you look at the word of syndicate, it's community. So the community that we have to support each other, to edify each other, whether it's through a means of inspiration or a scripture or just a word of encouragement or a video, is to edify people in life and in business. And I always combine life and business because let's face it, if life sucks, your business is going to suck. If business sucks, your life's going to suck. They go together.
True.
And it amazes me how many people try to like separate them, and you can't. I mean, there's no. People always, I always laugh when people talk about time management, right? Like, I think, no, when you love what you do, it's like you are your work, you are your life, as part of you, and you include your family in it. So it makes it fun.
Right. And to being authentic. And that's the best way you can be the true you is not bury things.
Yes.
Right.
So Distinctive Syndicate is our Facebook group where you can come and just be you and be honest. And I love to get the inspirational just messages that, man, your message really touched me today and that it helped me. And then it kind of carries over to LinkedIn where I post some of my Distinctive Syndicate. We have our own logo. So it's pretty awesome just to see how you're making an impact. And you don't realize it, but every once in a while on LinkedIn, I'll get that message that says, man, Daniel, that was a great, you really made my day. And sometimes we don't even realize it. So I would say this, Patty, you're more distinctive than you realize because you're inspiring and edifying and encouraging more men and women than you think.
Thank you for that. And it is true for us to realize that, and you as well, Daniel. You know that's the thing. People are noticing. You're getting those comments, and when you get that comment, you know, again, for us, it's so fulfilling and rewarding. That's priceless. But just know that it's happening, and people don't aren't reaching out and saying that because they're just absorbing it.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
want to say something to that too. Something that I've learned that's happened is there's for every one or two that comment, there's another one or two that you're inspiring that you don't even know. And I think that because I was guilty of this, and sometimes I'm still guilty of this. I'll be honest with you, because I think sometimes we go after the likes and really making an impact.
Right.
And I'm just being totally honest because I've been there, right? I'm talking about
Right.
myself,
Right.
and I'll never forget. I had a huge following on Facebook. I would post something, man, 100 comments, 100 likes, and boom, like wow. Then I would post something on LinkedIn and crickets, nothing. And I got discouraged.
Right.
And then when I just really prayed about it, God just says it's just your pride. You're chasing the likes and the recognition instead of really trying to add value. And it's like, ouch.
Right. You know,
And
and
it's
that's true. I
yeah,
I feel you on that. And so, and I applaud you for recognizing that and really taking a look and
yeah,
having it matter for you. That's fantastic.
yeah. Because the thing is, we forget there's four dominant personalities. And when you realize the personality you are, other people are, it makes life a lot easier. I just trained on this yesterday at a dealership, and the beautiful thing about this is that my personality, I thrive and I excel in award and recognition because I'm a expressive personality, and especially with those right, I'm the people that they say, man, you're the life of the party, right? That's the type of person that I am. Well, that's the type of person that like, man, well, nobody liked my post, and so I would encourage your audience that you're inspiring more people than you know. Put content of value. Put your distinctive content. Make it you. Don't worry about what Patty's posting. Don't worry about what
Right.
anybody's posting. Just what speaks to your heart. And maybe it does speak to it is relevant to other people because people are like-minded. You know, we work together.
Right.
But I say that just be distinctive. Just know that your voice, there's only one voice in the world like yours. There's only one thumb, one fingerprint in a voice like yours. There's only one of you. And when you walk in that, you stop and you really appreciate who you were created to be. Because it's easy, especially nowadays with just social media and emails and everything that's going on with marketing. It's easy to start feeling sad and depressed and thinking, man, you start that comparing game, and it just know that you're distinctive, and just know there's a community out there to support you.
Right. And I totally agree, Daniel, because I tell my people, you know, my clients, you know, we're not in competition with anyone else. The best person to stay in front of is ourselves because we're our own worst critic, and we make things more difficult for ourselves than we realize sometimes just with self sabotaging behaviors. So I totally agree.
Yes.
Fantastic. Yeah, and so you were saying about the conference. So that's coming up October 10th. For the conference you guys are doing, the Women's Conference for Finding Your Inner Beauty. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, well, the name Finding Your Inner Beauty came about 3 years ago when my wife had her double mastectomy. She didn't feel beautiful. She
Right.
didn't love herself and see the beauty that who she was. And I can imagine, right? It's kind of like a male losing his testicles. You
Right.
can you lose your manhood, you lose your womanhood because you have your breast.
Right.
And I just really at that moment, I just felt like God said, you need to find your inner beauty. And a lot of times before that construction comes, there's destruction.
Exactly.
And it's like she was just being made over, totally new. And she looked deep inside her heart, and God healed her. There's still healing, but it's really finding that inner beauty that you are distinctive, right? You are loved, you are approved already. And when she found her inner beauty, it's like all of a sudden I got a whisper that says, I want you to have a conference and start a nonprofit. I had no idea what the heck a nonprofit, how to, like, I asked a couple of people and it was like, what? That? I was like, you know, they talk about articles of incorporation, they talk about
Right.
this, they talk about that. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So I just said, whatever, right? Well, out of the blue, this lady saw our conference from last year and says, hey, I want to be part of it. I said, great. So she goes, yeah, this guy helped me out with my nonprofit. Maybe he can help you out. night and day. It was done. Very, very affordable, very, very easy process. He did everything. And I just give all grace and praise and glory to God. And so now we have the Mighty Strong Foundation. So because of that, we've been having events. We raise women who have to support women who have been impacted by breast cancer. So all the proceeds that we have that we raise, they go back. Most of them go back to help women that have been impacted by breast cancer. And then the beautiful thing is it's for all women. It's for all women, because we realized that there was women calling that had been through domestic violence, and they're like, hey, I don't feel beautiful on the inside. Is it okay if I go?
Right.
And I'll never forget that. I cried, right? Because it's like, wow, like, So it showed us that a lot of women need to find their inner beauty.
Exactly.
And believe it or not, we had some men there too. And it was awesome because they were, because I think us men, we always love our moms. So when you see and hear a woman speak on stage, I think a man receives it different than a woman, because it's kind of like that motherly love to say. Because I think that no matter what, if you're a mom, that mom side is going to come out of you sooner or later when you speak.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
So it was just amazing, the amazing conference we had last year. And so we're going to have it 10-10-20 here at San Antonio, Texas, Norris Conference Center. And we have 10 amazing speakers lined up to just pour their hearts out. It's going to be amazing. We got another sponsor yesterday. So it's just, we're going up now, and it's just time to take massive action, because we do only have like about 2 months to get it ready. 10-10 is about, actually a month and 3 weeks. So we got to kick it in gear here. Yeah, because there are all the moving parts that go into place for that. But no, kudos, because it's definitely something that's needed. Women need to learn that they are worthy and that they're capable, and many women struggle with those two things, and that's why I help people with that. And what happens, especially right now, you add what's already life in general, and then you add what's happening in this season that we're in. Well, then next thing you know, it's like you got a double. I call it that. This is what I foresee coming in actually next year, the first half of the year. You're going to really have that hangover of hopelessness, that women are going to be stuck, and even men, but that you're going to be stuck in that hopelessness. And that it's just because this is what we don't realize, Patty. We don't realize this, is that even I'll give you an example, is we get stuck in these new habits that don't serve us. Like right now, I'm just telling you the honest truth. Right. America's getting lazier. Yes. Like we're getting lazier and lazier and lazier. And I say that because we just moved into our new house that God bless us with here. This week will be a month that we've been here, on the 20-something. But the gym is only probably about another 10 minutes away from our house. Maybe not even, it's a little bit more distance, but in reality, it's not that far. Right. But our minds are programmed, and since it was so close and I could get there in 5 minutes, and now that it takes me 15, 20 minutes to get there, it's like, oh, it's far, and it's not. Right. And being here, like today, I really challenged myself, because my wife goes, well, just listen to something that's going to encourage you, and listen to a podcast on your way over there. And she said that, and I'm like, it's amazing how our mind keeps us captive, and we don't even realize
Exactly.
But it's because we developed the habit of working out here in the house for the last 5 months, and it's easier just to work out here in the house, which is, it's okay, but you're not going to get the same result, the same intensity than in the gym. Because after it takes 21 days to form a habit, to start forming it, and then 90 days it becomes a lifestyle. Right. And right now, we've been in quarantine for over 90 days. Everybody is around 6 months. So we're getting these habits that ain't serving us. And then when everything opens up, it's going to open up. It's like we're not going to be ready. We're going to be out of shape. We're going to be used to being at home. And I mean, I see it because I had to fight my own mindset today to push myself to go to the gym, because it's like I didn't want, not that I didn't want to go, but I just said, well, it's going to take longer. And you make that reasoning in your mind, and you make those alibis. And I said, you know what, just freaking go. And I just went, and I'm glad I went. Right.
After the fact, you're usually thanking yourself for doing it, or thanking your wife for giving you that little extra push, and sometimes we need those people. And that's like, I have a peer-to-peer mentoring and accountability program just for that reason, because sometimes we don't have that support system right around us. They might not be our family and friends that know the passion of what we're trying to do with our businesses. So other like-minded individuals that are on journeys or similar journeys are there to help support you and be your cheerleader and be that, that accountability partner that gives you that push to take that next step in your business that you might not have dared to do all on your own. And so
Yeah.
we all need that. And this is all human nature. The things that we're talking about, it happens to every single one of us. And if somebody tells you it doesn't, they're fibbing.
No, well, the thing
Yeah.
is, this is 90% of the decisions you make, you don't even know you make them. It's a true fact.
Yeah.
95% of your life it's lived on autopilot.
Exactly.
It's lived on habits and rituals, and you're not even aware of the decision you make because you're just responding to the program. And just think about our phones. We have our phones that have a software that Apple is so upgrade,
Yeah.
and we upgrade our software every single time on our phones. But when do we upgrade our software in our mind and our thinking? And we don't. It takes a lot of work
Exactly.
because that old programming wants to come back and challenge it. So if you're not doing that new positive thinking, and I don't even want to say positive thinking because it's not even about positive thinking. You have to create a mindset of business, a mindset of a champion, a mindset of happiness, a mindset of laughter. You have to develop different mindsets within your thinking. And I think that positive thinking is just jaded because and this is the biggest lie that people believe. You cannot will yourself to a new level of thinking. You cannot will yourself to a new level of thinking. And most people say, well, I'm just going to think positive. Well, crap, you haven't thought positive for the last 50 years of your life. How are you just going to start thinking positive? You can't.
Right.
And most people don't realize it. It takes a reconditioning. It takes cognitive reconstructing. And if you don't have that cognitive reconstructing and you don't have that plan in place, you're not going to succeed.
Right. Exactly. I 100% agree. I choose to live my life, and that's choices and decisions will define your destiny. I choose to live my life purposefully, joyfully, and gratefully because I feel, and those things, to me, that's the trifecta of perfect, right, for me. And I just know the difference of how I feel about myself and my mission, so I wish everyone could feel the same way. I wish I could spread that just like spreading the love of God. You know what I mean? I wish
Yes.
that everybody could have that same feeling.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing is, you water those seeds that want to be watered.
Yeah.
And the truth is, some people don't want to be watered.
That's
And
true.
I think that's one thing that I had to learn just when I started, speaking, training, and coaching, and just really being that entrepreneur and trying to help people. Not everybody wants to be helped.
That is so
And
true.
but if you plant that seed,
Yeah.
I've learned and I've seen that people come back here and they're like, wow, like, they get it. Sometimes they're just not ready. Sometimes you're just the one that plants the seed and then somebody else helps you water it and they come around and say, hey, you know what? I think I could use your help now.
That's true. That is true.
So,
It's happened.
and I,
It's happened exactly. I mean, it's happened for me too. So I totally understand. Yeah.
yes, but this is the thing that I want your audience to learn is that don't take it personal because it's them that's not ready. It's they that are not ready. It's not you. It's just they're not ready.
Right.
And I used to take that crap personal. I mean, just like, right? I wanted to be the best, help everybody. Come on, let's go. Don't you freaking see it, right? But people can't. People can only see as far as they can see.
Mm-hmm.
People can only hear as loud as they can hear.
It's true.
Right?
That's
and if
true.
they don't have the understanding, they're ignorant, right? They're ignorant in a good way to where ignorance, everybody, you hear the word ignorance and people use it in a bad way, but
Right.
actually ignorance is just, you just don't know what you don't know.
Right. Until you don't know that
Yeah.
you needed to know it. Right.
Yeah. And we
Yeah.
think the word ignorant is bad because we hear people say, oh, you're just ignorant. It's like, okay, well, teach me, show me.
Right. Right.
But having ignorance is actually a good thing because if you have ignorance, that means if someone says you're ignorant, that means, okay, well, maybe that's good because I'm trying to learn something new. So help me to be unignorant.
Right. And the thing is, I know I have a tendency as a mother, okay, wanting more for my children than sometimes they want for themselves. and it may be because they're not ready for that yet, you know. So, and we do that for other people too. We see something in them that they might not yet see in themselves. So, you know, it's just to be patient. Time happens, and you know, when it's time for them, when they're ready, they'll be ready.
Yeah. Well, this is what
Yeah.
happens is you're think about this. You're the mother. So your growth journey happened later in life.
Yeah.
So the way you conditioned them when they were little is totally different than who you are now. So that's the conditioning they have now.
Right.
That's right of what you taught them in the first part of your life. So you got to have that patience because that's something that I had to do for my kids. Is I had to understand that they're the way they are because of me. I mean, let's be real, right? They're the way they are because of me. And when you realize that, it's like, okay. And when my transformation really happened and they're like, man, dad's going through a phase, right? I've always been a go-getter. I've always
Right.
been that, and we had a business before prior to that. But when I really took personal development just serious and I said, you know what, I'm going to be a motivational speaker. They support you to an extent, but they think like, man, that's crazy. Like, man, this dude's crazy.
Right.
But when it's real and they see it, then they follow suit without you saying anything.
Exactly.
So just remember, be kind with our kids because all they're doing is what we taught them, right?
It's true.
Think about it. And a good example of this is I was at my friend's house the other day. Actually, it was not even the other day. It's been a while, like when COVID first started. And like his grandson was in front of the TV. They had a song on, right? And he was like booty dancing, right? And I'm like, dude, like, but it's not funny. It's not funny
Right.
because the video is like, it's not. And I was like, dude, like you're laughing about it, but you're teaching your son how to say like bitches and hoes, and it's like it's not.
That
It's
kind
not,
of music. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's not funny.
No.
And, I mean, and it's like, and just the way they talked, right? And
Right.
they did, maybe they weren't as graphic, but that's the
Right.
message I want to relay.
Right.
And we think it's cute because they're kids and they're dancing. I'm like, dude, you're programming your grandson
Right.
to like do that,
Right.
and we don't realize. And
Yeah.
we don't even realize we're doing it.
That's true.
'Cause to us, it's it's cute,
Right.
Yeah. But it's
Right. Because
conditioning our children.
right. Because at that point they're thinking it's acceptable. It's going to get me oohs and ahs or laughs. So
Yeah.
right. Right.
So I would just say right now, parents, because right now here in San Antonio, I don't know how it is up north, but a lot of the schools are going to open. A lot of them ain't.
Yeah. Right.
So you're going to be with your kids, and if you tell your kids, "Man, I can't stand the way you act," well, you taught them how to act that way.
Right. Right.
I mean, let's just be real.
Exactly.
And it hurts when the truth is whenever you get defensive right away about what somebody tells you, there might be some truth in that.
Yes. And sometimes, again, from pain, you know, you have to hear it sometimes. I know I've heard it and I've had to hear it. And from pain comes wisdom. And you have to have that to be able to redirect and go the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've had it too, where it's like it upsets you at first, but then you think like, okay, well, maybe there's some truth to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a one of my clients yesterday. We were just talking about his coaching, and I helped him out, and we were going through some stuff. And I just said, I think you probably need to maybe extend your coaching, have another 3 sessions, and just really help you through this because you're struggling with some things. And right away, his ego popped up,
Yeah.
and I'm like, when anybody's quick to react and respond, you're not listening.
Right.
And I told him this story. I said, look, every corporate training I do, when I'm in there with the executives or whoever's in there in leadership, it's like the one that always wants to speak the loudest and first is always the most insecure leader, is always the most insecure executive.
Mm-hmm.
I said, and the ones that react and right away don't listen to what their other peers say, their other VPs say, then
Right.
they're insecure. There's a pride problem. There's an ego there. I go, and that's what you're doing. And he was mad because he didn't want to hear it. And I was like, but just take it as it is. You're not going to see it right now, but all I do is ask you to pray about it and see what you think because you're blocking yourself. If you haven't had a successful business, how are you going to become successful? If you're not a millionaire, how are you going to become a millionaire? If you're not a multimillionaire, how are you going to become a multimillionaire? If you haven't been in business, I mean, you see what I'm saying? It's like,
Right.
and when you get in this new zone, it's like, yeah, we can read a book. Well, yeah, a book is helpful, but it's not going to change your life. It's not going to change your thinking. It's the start of part of the process. It's part of the cake to say that you're making. It's part of the flour, the eggs, but you still have blind spots. You still have spots in your life where you don't have that self awareness, and it's like, especially I think for men, we have our ego gets in the way, and you have to ask for help.
Right. Exactly. And sometimes it's painful. It's digging deep and it's taking that self evaluation, which a lot of people don't take the time to do. And because it is painful sometimes.
Yes, and
Yeah.
it's how can I say this? It's like even myself, as successful people think they see me. I shared this with you the other day.
Right.
Like I was stuck in this rut, and it's a new level of life for us. And then today I go outside, and it's like they came and cleaned our driveway, and trying to clean our driveway, it's like they power washed it too hard, so now there's some potholes and like little cracks. So I'm like, okay, I can get upset like I did the other day, or I could just embrace it and, okay, God, what do you want me to learn from this? And it's like, but it's not easy, but it's just one of those things that you have to understand that there's a bigger picture. I don't understand it. Do I want my driveway to have a little crack on the pot, and there's not a lot, but there's enough to where it's like I see it. So I say that because I think if that was me last week, I would have probably been like really upset, and I would have probably not responded the way I did today. But I realized, and I read something this morning that said, the way you react reveals the character you have inside.
Right. Which is true, but I can also understand that frustration and aggravation when you hire a company that specifically is supposed to be professional at doing what they're doing. They shouldn't be doing something if there's already a little crack to that much power washing, that much pressure to cause it to be, so I understand that because I'm that way myself, because you've worked, and I know, because I know you've worked so hard to get where you are, and you want to have things nice and you want to keep them nice, whether you and so normally if that was something that you do yourself, that wouldn't have happened. But you hire somebody that they're supposed to be professional to do it. That's where the difficult comes in. That's where I have the difficulty, is if somebody's professional and they're supposed to be doing something and they don't, that you would have been better off to do it yourself. Yeah. So I understand that, and but as it is, again, the way that we react to that, and sometimes I try to be proactive to things rather than reactive, and I try to have that mindset, and but then there's some things that are just out of our control, and that's where, like you said, having that mindset, or that overall, just that sense of peacefulness that you're coming from within inside to how you handle a situation.
Yeah, well, it's part of growth too. I mean, people think that a growth is just when you're in that season of abundance, but growth is also happening when you're being pruned.
Right.
And everybody loves the abundance part of growth, but not everybody loves the pruning part of growth.
That's true. That is true.
Because it hurts. It
exactly.
sucks. I mean, let's be honest. It sucks.
Exactly.
This is the biggest mistake that people that I see that is just so real, that people may think that once they do something, they think they're done with it. And what I mean by that is they think once they forgive a person, well, I've already forgiven them. Okay, great. Once they think like, well, you know what? I'm not greedy anymore. I'm done with greed. Well, no, there's always a deeper level of healing. There's always a deeper level of getting that trauma, those toxins out, because we have so much junk suppressed inside of us that we've never dealt with.
Right.
That for that next level of success, the deeper the foundation has to be to handle that success. That's why you see a lot of people that are successful right off the bat, where they get that one big push and then they can't handle it and they self-sabotage themselves, right, because they don't feel that they're worthy enough or whatever it may be. But the reality is the cause of it is they haven't dealt with the unforgiveness, the resentment. They haven't dealt with the jealousy. They haven't dealt with the greed. They haven't there's things in there
all
that they haven't dealt with.
Underlying stuff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I tell you that because I went through that myself where I forgave my, I forgave my, I asked my son for forgiveness and he forgave me like 3 years ago. And then like just 3 or 4 months ago before we moved, I felt like God said, you need to call your son and ask him to forgive you for this one particular thing. Because now I was ready for it.
Right.
But the thing is this, is you have to understand that if you want to have a business, a life that's a 2-story house life, that's great. But I think right now God is raising up the people that he wants to be skyscrapers. And you know, and I know that the foundation of a skyscraper goes a lot deeper in the ground and prepare it than what a 2-story house is.
Yes.
So it's going to take a lot more work. So it's not the world coming against you. I'm talking to myself right now.
Right,
too.
exactly.
It's just that preparation is key.
Right. And that strong foundation, and to have it built right. And that takes a while. That doesn't just happen overnight.
Yeah. So if I'm going to, and like I said, last week I would have probably been really upset about what happened yesterday and this morning, but yeah. I grew last week, I guess, because I'm not as mad as
there you go. And right. And but there again too, right. But there again too, again, it is business and it is life. And if you've had business experience, I've owned several businesses over the years, so I have that business background. And if I were the owner of that company, I would want to know that had happened, because again, to me, that's just not right. If they're using too much pressure and it does destroy some property or does more damage to it, then they're not leaving it better than how they found it. And so I understand, that, but then there's the level at which you get your blood pressure up about that makes a difference for all of us, because we have our physical health, but we also have our spiritual and mental health. And I teach my clients to learn to put ourselves first. Put yourself, your physical health, and that your spiritual, mental, and your financial health. And a lot of people don't put think of all those things as what they need to do for themselves, because they put everybody else first. And women more are prone to that. But yeah, it's just that level at how we deal with those situations. And so I applaud you in that, because you're doing better than I probably would this morning. There. So, again, I've been following you on social media and watching the different posts, and I love the positive posts, because I'm all about that myself. And so you had a thing on that you were saying testing for faith, testing positive for faith and negative for fear. And I love that. So what brought that on? What came into your mind when you posted about that?
Actually, I had a one-on-one with my pastor, and we're just talking about that. And he's the one, that's why I tagged him on it. He's the one that shared that with me. He goes, you know what? I tested a positive for faith. I was like, what? And it's true, right? But we just had our Sticker Shock Speaking Academy. And it was awesome. And I think I contacted, it was a great small event where we actually had 25 people come in from all over, 24 people come in from all over the country. And it was so amazing because they operated in faith. They walked in that faith. And so many people are living in fear. They're just stuck in their homes. They're not living.
Right.
And you have to test positive for faith. You have to believe that. I mean, let's just be honest. When your number is called, it's called. And if you're living scared, this is the thing. It's when you get in that fight or flight zone, you're only hurting your own immune system. You're only bringing more stress hormones into you, which makes you more susceptible. And it's like the law of attraction. The law of expectation says this: 85% of what you expect, you're going to get, to the good or to the bad. So if you're expecting to get COVID, you're going to get it. So don't focus on it. But I say that because when they traveled, everybody that came, no one got COVID. See, praise God. But they stepped in. They have to walk in. Everybody wants the blessing, but they don't want to walk in that faith. And in order to activate, you're never going to receive a blessing that you don't believe God offers. Okay. You're never gonna be able to claim a blessing that God has for you if you don't believe that God offers that. And your faith is what activates that. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes
It's
sense.
it's like the blessings are passing by. I think of Steve Harvey right now. Steve Harvey had a great cartoon illustration where the blessings were passing by, and it's like, dude, you're missing all your blessings because all the blessings are going to Fate Street, and
Oh.
you're stuck in Unbelief Street, right? All the
Mm-hmm.
blessings are going to Fate Street, and you're stuck on Unbelief Street and Fear Street, and you're like with your hands out on fear and unbelief, and they're like, no, you're because your hands ain't out. And right, think about it when you shrink back. So I love that post because when you test positive for faith, it's like things are going to happen. The driveway is going to happen. Things are going to happen. And you just got to walk in that truth that, no, you know what? God's got my back.
Right.
God's got my back.
Right.
And this is the thing that what the story that comes to mind is back in the day when the Israelites were crossing the Jordan River, God could have receded the waters, but he didn't recede the waters until the high priest stepped into the water. He goes, show me your faith, step into the water, then I'll recede it. And once they step into the water, that's when everything happened. But most people don't want to step in the water. And I applaud our speakers that came in from California. They came in from Kentucky. And this is the best thing. They were like, we don't want to go home. We're having a great time. So I give all our speakers from Sticker Shock Speaking Academy that came this last month, July 24th and 25th, just a round of applause because that's the great example of the post that I put because you have to walk it out.
Right.
The biggest lie that we've been told is knowledge is power. It's not. It's the application and activation of that knowledge.
Exactly.
You got to walk it out.
Yeah.
But most people will not walk it out because they're scared.
Exactly.
And they're allowing, I'm not saying that COVID is not real, but you can't let it run your life. 90% of people right now are allowing it to run their life.
Well, right. And going by what we're being told by people that work for the government, the medical professionals and everything else.
Don't believe the news. Don't believe the news. Everybody said Texas is this. I'm in Texas. Texas is beautiful. But if you're outside of Texas, all you see is what the news says.
Right.
It's hogwash. It's baloney.
Right.
Don't believe everything you see in the news. Don't believe everything you hear.
Well, that's true.
You can't believe it.
That's true.
But the more you watch that negativity, the more you watch the news, the more it brainwashes. Because the output is going to be determined by the input.
Right. And negativity, even no matter what, if we relate this to something else, no matter what, if you listen to all the negativity, it does not do you any good. So, yeah. Exactly. Well, that really makes sense, and that brings that post to a new meaning for me that I wasn't reading it that way, but it's honestly fabulous, and that's true. That's true. So it's time, and one of your posts was it's time to elevate your thinking, and I 100% agree. For our listeners and viewers, it's time to elevate your thinking. You need to think outside the box. You need to think and realize that you are worthy and you are capable. And I know Daniel thinks you are too, because I know he is, and I know I am. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can do anything you want in life if you put your mind to it. And what I want to do is I want to give your audience a free gift. Yes. If they go to my website, www.danielgomezinspires.com /7 steps. That's danielgomezinspires.com /7 steps. They'll get a free training that's 7 steps to fly daily. People love it. The response we've had from it, it's a training. You get some emails with it, and it's completely free, and it's a life changer because all you need is 1 or 2 ideas when you're ready that are going to push you over the top. And I definitely want to do that for your audience. And once again, that was danielgomezinspires.com /7 steps. Or you can text the word confidence to 26786. That's confidence to 26786.
Thank you, Daniel, for being with me, and thank you so much for the blessings. This has been the Patricia Jo Grover Show, and you can find information for me at patriciajogrover.com. And all my social media and a link for my show at www.pjg.vcardinfo.com. I have a little gift for you guys. It's on the video right behind us here. And again, thanks for joining us. See you next time.
Awesome. Thank you. That was good.